Okay. We have everybody here. Run through, I sent out notes. Partially in anticipation of trying to get out here as fast as we can this evening. So a lot of things are answered and some things aren't. But under highway, Mike said, well, I'll let you say, you talked to Mr. Wagner, and everything's good?
Went down and saw him. John, in your conversations with him, I know you,
Talked to him once, Mike.
and he said that, I'm gonna ask you, did he indicate that we went down and found a DI form in his yard to help him out?
No, when he called me, he was calling for the damage on the lawn and why they did it the way they did it. And I said, I
Eddie,
can't
can you
answer
see
those
us?
questions on why or how they did it, but I'm sure they'll repair it. Which
So
I believe they did, right?
we went down there, and what happens? You guys probably not familiar with it now, but when Dean does it, he tilts the bucket, it's not flat. He tips it at an angle so that he takes the high spot, and there's a little bit of an angle like this as he comes down. That way the water come off the road and go down into the ditch or wherever she's gonna drain. And it's a lot easier doing it like that, as he can, but he's offset, he's not straddling the edge of the road. So the machine is over here, the ditch is over here, and he's like kind of coming like that. So he wasn't happy with that.
Yeah, it was like a 45-degree angle, right?
Yeah,
Approximately.
Just,
At that time, Mike, I told him I don't really care about what happened as far as how a guy does it. I wasn't here. I don't know what you guys were even doing there. I just said that it's in the right of way, but they'll still come back and repair your lawn. I talked to Gary on it. I believe you were on vacation when I called Gary.
I think they went down and put topsoil.
They
and
put
seed.
topsoil, and I have not heard from this guy from pre-COVID. But when someone calls me, I'll go check into it.
So then I went down right after the meeting was last Monday, I went down Tuesday. Talked to them, looked over by his mailbox, then I went in the back of the house, the ditch. That's the first I've ever heard about it. And we walked almost to Roll Road through the back. But the worst part is, it's like the grass is growing up. We'll take a shot from his spot where you can see she's,
Is it a town ditch back there, Mike?
yeah. I says, but we gotta take a shot from the road ditch back to where you think it's high. And I told him, I says, look, it's probably fairly level, but we'll try to get a pitch, but we don't undercut the ditch, the road ditch, because the water then is not gonna get into it. So I told him we'd come down and put some stone in there. I didn't give him a time frame because we're busy, and that's where we're at with him.
Can I ask you to sit up here? Be with a big voice, so you don't have to have your back to this.
Oh, that's
That way, Patty can see everybody, or almost everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving forward on that.
And he was good with all that. What you told him, Mike?
Well, let's put it this way, compared to the meeting, you would have thought he's my buddy the next day, but.
I would have never expected that from either one of you.
Well, he is a little overbearing, this guy. I will have to say that. He's very particular about things, and I don't even really know what he was talking about when he came in, but I don't think you were here that meeting, Mike, when he first came in. So,
You logged it in. I mean, it's on paper, what you just described to us. So we've got a copy on hand.
No, I'm not,
Well,
I'm here to report to you guys, I'm telling you what exactly happened. And,
Right.
Okay. May I see more purchase?
Well, it was.
Patty and I had a nice little conversation today, and we're smiling about it. I'd like to know the other two board members of why no comments or why you voted no.
well, Dave, I asked you when you weren't feeling well to table it so we can get more information. I don't know if you remember that or not. You were kind of in a rough way maybe, but I think you probably remember that.
Okay,
And I remember that also, Dave, where you were not
So this
feeling
is on
well,
me.
but let me finish. You were not feeling well. And I know John and I both said at that time, this was considered a major purchase. We didn't discuss it last summer when we were talking budget. We didn't discuss the tractor. We discussed other pieces of equipment. I know that for sure, but not the tractor. And then we agreed to table it. And then we had that 2-week hiatus because of Labor Day, and then you put it right back on the agenda. And we never talked about it. We didn't say anything. We just, it came right back up on the agenda.
I remember Mike was here and gave the two quotes. They're sitting right down there.
I remember that, Dave, but that's just the thing. We don't talk about it. We just,
Well, then,
it was the
You
night of the
could've talked about it
meeting.
Monday
It was the
night.
night of the
you could have
meeting. and
talked about it. on the
It
night.
was the night of the meeting.
Then why
and-
couldn't you talk about it?
Are you gonna let me finish?
No,
Then I'll table my comments then. Fine, thank you, sir. I'm good.
John?
I'm good.
We have we have the quotes for the
We have the
Massey
quote.
Ferguson.
It
And
just,
the latest is if Massey Ferguson isn't moved on within the next few days, the price increases from $5,000 to $6,000 on a portion of it, which doesn't include the side wings. Is that the understanding?
now let me tell how we got into this. We had a JF meeting, last Thursday it was. And we were just about finished and the phone rang and I said, excuse me. The salesman says, how are you making out? Is there any progress? And I proceeded to tell him that it was voted down. And this conversation was out of the room. So we get back to the room and then after the JF meeting, David asked, could we just talk about the highway committee? And it was brought up. I says, I'll tell you what, I talked with a guy when I walked out. I got him on speakerphone and believe me, this wasn't rehearsed or whatever. I says, the quote that you gave me, is it still good or after 30 days you record it? He says, Mike, let me get back with you. He says, I gotta call the guy who does the quoting. But he says, right now, if somebody calls me with that model and whatever, it's going up $5,000. Like I said, I'm not here to influence you. You guys do what you want. But the guy told us that. So then I got the quote, he re-quoted me. And he kept it for the whole thing. The side flail, the rear flail, the mower. He kept it until the meeting, the 26th. So. That's where we're
Okay.
at with that.
Joe, I apologize to you. I'm out of line. And I should let you finish talking and please, you don't have to accept my apology, but I
No,
was
it's
wrong.
okay, it's okay.
I was totally wrong.
I'm good.
So if you want to continue talking.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
So that's where we're at. With the mower.
And if we vote in the affirmative on the 26th, when can the mower be in-house?
Well, according to them, the mower. I believe is gonna be in Syracuse, delivered, there is one available. The mowers will not be here until like. February, March,
In time for the next spring mowing?
yes, and. My thinking is Massey or Java, where they have the mower shipped to, leave it in Syracuse. The people that put the mowers on are in Syracuse, rather than ship it back to Akron, ship it back down the thruway. It's right there, it can go over here to be put together.
One thing that was brought up, I know in probably before in various conversations that I've had with her today. I'm not totally sure that you have told us what is it replacing.
The 1997 Ford open cab tractor.
You know how many hours are on that one, Mike?
I went down again today, I went down the other day, I looked all over for an hour meter. So this morning I went down, turned the key on, let it run, thinking it right in the dash where the tack is, nothing showed up.
So we don't really know what the hours are.
No,
So Mike, we have two other mowing tractors.
you've got the John Deere that we purchased, was it 2 years ago? And then you have a TS90 New Holland. That has been around, I can remember when,
Can you get the information on the John Deere, the year, and the TS90, the year and the hours for us? Is that doable?
yeah, I get.
Okay. I know you gave us
I
a
did
sheet.
send
there
the
was a
sheet with
but I
all
don't
the equipment on it.
think- Yeah,
It had
Again,
I don't think it had hours on. it.
no,
So that's what I would like to see. And then. So I will say a little bit on this. I said to Dave on this, that even though this wasn't written on your budget for 21. I'm not saying we don't need it. But I wanted more information, and then at the meeting, when we were gonna talk about buy more, I stated I still wanna do competitive bidding. If we got it locked in at this price, it doesn't hurt to do competitive bidding. That's all I asked for.
yeah, but it's already bid out.
It's not competitive. If we go back to the lower, these are big purchases that sometimes we find out that that bid is not always the right bid. So what I wanted to know is what we have on hours. Typically, you pretty much use 2 mowers. And you got one probably for a backup, I guess,
Well, like this
depending
year,
on the year. And I know it's all gonna depend, right?
this year has been exceptional for field ditch mowing. We have been out,
Because of how dry it's been.
we've
Yeah.
been out, plus now we're finishing up road mowing. So at times there's one tractor doing roadsides. There could be 2 tractors on the side boom doing field ditches. And
Yeah, but that's a whole separate tractor, the one with the boom on it. It's-
right, but we still
Yeah.
use the other ones to do the field ditches. We just don't get over far enough close to.
And John, I just want to make sure we're clear, because you said that if we go with buy board, it's not competitively bid. It's not competitively bid by us, but it is competitively bid
Yeah,
to be eligible on buy board for us to piggyback.
so is it the same as the state bid?
It is similar.
So in the state bid, we have found in the past that's not always the best way to go, the bid. And even with the pickup trucks, we've gone, it's not as much because the money's not as high. We have saved money on pickup trucks by not going on state bid.
And I'm not saying
So I
that we
understand what
might,
you're
we might
saying.
not, I just want to make
Yes.
sure.
I get all the things.
And part of the reason I was against buy board is they specifically state that they do not guarantee a lower price in what they're offering, so.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
Yeah, I would say no one can do that.
I mean, and in the way the surcharges and everything, they might 30 days from now, it's. Yeah. It's terrible the way prices are just going.
seems the sooner you get the piece of equipment, you get the job done. And the equipment isn't gonna be on until next February. If we push the can down the road, then it's gonna be post-February next year. Which doesn't make any sense.
You know, and like when I do my 284 agreement. It's based on. What I see right now for next year. So next year's 284 agreement is hopefully we can get die room done. But I can't be held to that because. Downey Road through the winter might just blow up. And then I have to go back and say, well, I can't be held to this here. I gotta go over here and do that because that's in good shape. You know, it's kind of like equipment. I've got an idea.
Did you guys demo this mower at all?
We went
Did you
down
have a
to the
chance
town of
demo it?
Carlton.
But did you get a chance to demo it there or just kind of look it over?
No, they drove it. You call Chris, you want? Chris and Gary went down.
Okay.
See what Chris has to say. The big thing about this is. It is available. New Holland. Down in Lockport there, Keith Henrik or whatever. He told me 12 to 14 months. Before you're gonna take.
What size would you be looking at New Holland, like,
That'd be like the TS 90. Same as what we got. John Deere wouldn't even tell me when, we would take one.
so,
Is it? Go ahead.
Eddie?
I just had a question. Is there a way to just replace the mowers or just replace the tractor, but not have to get the mowers or?
Well. The mowers are,
They take the beating.
yes, we've just replaced bearings and one, the back roller just came off the one day. The belts, when you're cutting that high grass and that, they're taking a beating.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's high grass now, tomorrow, the new boy starts and we're gonna take him. I looked at the side, you know, he's gotta learn to replace pins, knives, clevises. After a day, God only knows how many that get tore off and break.
We're not gonna train them in high grass, are we?
No. I mean, we talk about being fiscally responsible to the taxpayers, but we used to have a schedule on replacing the equipment, and that's gone by the wayside. So, you know, if you want to wait and not get it, the depreciation value is going down on the vehicle and the price is going. I don't know how fiscally responsible. And I will ask, I've been doing this for 17 years. I have not had a resident come to me and bitch to me because we buy this, we buy that. And how many people actually even care coming to a budget meeting for our new budget and just ask questions?
Well, they might not, but I'm sure we do.
Well, I'm just saying.
So,
Which way is the wind blowing? Is it still 3 nay and 2 high?
What is the replacement value of the one that you're getting rid of?
It's hard to say, Patty. Your chances are, if you ask for a trade-in, you're gonna get less. If you put it out to, on Auctions International. The value to John could be 10,000, the value to Joe could only be 5,000. It's all who wants to buy it.
But we're looking at 5,000-ish,
Probably more than that.
I mean,
but I'm just-
10,000-ish.
I would hope.
I mean, it's not 50 or 60.
No,
what year is that one?
97.
97?
It's a 5340 or something like that. It's still
Is that
actually
a Ford or New Holland?
Ford.
Ford?
It's not a New Holland.
Five days already?
What?
It says highway crew 5 days, don't they normally go till
Well, usually it's
end of October usually?
in last fall the weather was good and I like to get as much done in 10-hour days, especially when I still got a few driveway fill in the road ditches and
I guess I don't understand the question, highway crew 5 days, what's that?
that was the question, was when are we going on it?
Oh,
Oh,
I was letting the board, asking him, so that the board would know that
I
the
mean,
highway crew goes on 5 days in mid-October.
But
Because they're on board.
I'm not afraid to go to just 4 days, 10-hour days all year round.
Yeah, that'll work. It's fine. So,
I don't think that's such a bad idea in the winter time.
Roy Hart doesn't, Town of Royalton?
You can't predict when it's gonna snow, and if you got the guys there when it's snowing, it cuts out the overtime, but.
okay, that's a different subject. Let's get through this, and then I do have a question on that. So,
I've not changed my mind yet.
okay, Joe, you're not changing
I'm
your mind?
undecided.
Patty,
Undecided.
so,
Do you want me to have a resolution ready to go out to bid? Just in case,
either go out to bid or purchase,
right, well, we already have the
the
resolution
route
ready to.
for purchase. Well, if
If we're going into bid, what do we need to specs for that
What do you need?
generalized from Mike?
This is basically right here, everything it says. So you can put a Massey, down is bidding out a Massey Ferguson, yada, 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 with that stuff there. Exclude this, we're looking to go out to bid for,
Now, if we went out to bid, wouldn't it be that tractor or equivalent to allow John Deere, to allow Ford, to allow whoever else to bid on it?
correct, but I would say that,
I mean, is that what we want?
I already talked to Emily, if we were to do that, to bid out the other manufacturers, that we would put a timeline
take
in the
possession.
resolution
Mhm.
if we go that way.
Okay, that-
But they've already told us, John Deere or whoever.
They did, but who knows, maybe they'll change it. I'm just telling you what they told me.
To me, it's not a matter of what people say or do, it's a matter of showing that at least we made Dawn go out and rebid the sign because we only got one bid. It's just,
There were 3 bids then, on that original.
I got them in my folder, yeah.
those were close, 3 bids.
They were close. Subtle distinction.
You can have
Okay,
that.
well, we'll move on, we'll put it on the agenda, we can either vote or we don't vote, whatever. Okay, anything else under highway?
Does that happen in mid-October? Is that the direction?
Usually we start setting the equipment up for winter in mid-October or so. We will have 2 trucks. The ones with side dumps, it's a lot faster to set up. Well, like I said, if the weather's decent, we can still do.
So you may go
Yeah,
through all of October.
Correct.
Still,
Yeah, if there's 2 or 3 fill in the road ditches.
Yeah. TBD.
So nothing else for highway? Water sewer. I checked, they weren't out there today, I talked to Scott and Rob.
They were not.
No. I didn't expect them to be because of the monsoons that we're having, or whatever you wanna call them. And they said they did. Rob Corbin said that they did contact him and tell him they wouldn't be out until tomorrow. So allegedly it's supposed to start tomorrow. Planning, the only thing on, I guess it's under planning that's not here, is we had, I'm not sure if anybody else got phone calls, but I know myself and Dave Miller got phone calls concerning the concert. Friday night, up at, I got it, at, back lot.
I got a question, Dave, on that.
And I talked with Miller today. And he's got some plans that he wants to put. We got 3 concerts to go. One's a polka concert, one's a Halloween concert. I don't see an issue with either one of them, but there is a Pink Floyd concert, so I find there might be an issue with that. So, he's gonna talk to Mr. Northern, Dave and I talked this afternoon. Try to tone it down, but he's got some ideas that he wants to bring to the the planning board and or town board to set. Change the one of my ordinances concerning that to
The fireworks?
for fireworks and for noise.
Yeah, that's the question I have, because right now,
There's,
I talked to Dave, there's nothing we can do about the noise level the way the law is written right now.
right,
Can I,
yes,
the lady on Havens Road, can I just bring this up about the graffiti?
I don't know if I got it with you or not.
So- I guess the night of the concert a week ago, not this week. Kids wrote on there, think it's a baby killer on,
Faster.
so the lady, new people moved in, she's only been there like 6 months and she's quite upset, she wants us to come and paint the road. This is the first I've ever, to me,
To see that on this phone.
to me, it's not. They have. If we go up there, we're gonna have to square it off, paint it black, cone it off.
Town road.
It is a town road.
I mean, we've had this issue before about, freedom of speech, but that's a matter of people putting signs on their private property, not a town road. I mean, is it doable to
We got a portable.
cover that
sandblaster?
up or?
Portable sandblaster?
I'm bringing it up, it's the first I've ever had it.
Can we just make some marks on it so it's not legible?
Wait long enough, this plows I have.
Well,
You know,
yeah, but between now and then, at least. You know,
Is that in
change,
front of her house or this on the road?
No, this is,
change the H to a square, or, you know, just
if we
circle everything
head
that
up
you
off
can,
Main,
so that you can't read it.
past the trailer park, and then there's a brine line that goes across.
Yeah.
Right
So-
there.
Not really affecting anybody in front of their house.
No.
So if you're a walker, you're probably gonna see it.
Yes.
Or a very slow drive. Let me know what your comments are, think about it.
Power washer?
It all depends what kind of tank it is, right?
Yeah, and how long is it? I don't know. I mean, if this, the village has a. What, sewer blaster or whatever, that's pretty high pressure. You don't know. What?
If it's damaged, you won't take off, just a couple letters.
Yeah, we don't want to damage the road, can
Well,
you doctor it up so you can't read it? Or
Let
am
me-
I
let
way
me-
out in the left field with that?
Let me, Robert and, Brady are pretty decent, maybe they can bring that with a pressure wash, maybe just enough to take it away or something without damaging the road, but.
At least get killer out of it.
Right, that's basically the problem, right?
I think killer's the key word.
They have Hokel's a baby or whatever, or Hokel loves it, whatever.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you.
So planning, we did get phone calls, and the individuals up there, it's not to downplay it, it's the same three up front. Mr. Campbell, Mr. Dan, and, what's the lady's name?
Carol, something.
Carol, long French type name. You know, they're starting to get a little irate on the phone, but talk with Miller because it's for him to regulate, not the town board at this point. He has to regulate with whatever rules we get.
It's all just the base, it is, the concert 90% of the time was really not bad.
Carl, how many residents are in Quarry Hill? You know, 100
100 homes, which is.
homes, so how many?
So maybe 150.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not two people in every one, but there,
oh,
There's a lot of
people in
children.
other households. It's about 100 households.
Does anybody know the feeling of how the rest of the park feels?
Well, the levels drop off rapidly from the
Yeah.
first row.
to Carl's point, Jen, I talked to people in the second, third, fourth row, and they got. They're once in a blue moon, you know, it's like me, once in a blue moon. I mean, as far as the noise and the fireworks Saturday night across from me. That was very loud. Dave Miller said he heard it up at his house. Did you hear noise and fireworks up at your house on Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
I hear at my house. I can see them from my house.
Yeah, we hear them over, but
Yeah.
it's fine, yeah.
But, and they went to 11:45, which are supposed to be done at 11.
That even being a special use permit that
It's
4 to
in-
12 still works for fireworks?
No. In there it says the music's supposed to be over at 11, the event's supposed to be over at 11. So
Oh,
they-
that's what their special use permit says.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they do have a special use for fireworks at, Fairfield.
So I have a question, Paul. You've came here on Mondays, post-concert sometime, when we get a fiasco of phone calls. And you've said that they've gone beyond 11 sometimes, and they've gone beyond the noise threshold, correct? Have they ever been fined?
No, but on the beyond 11 is not a common problem. They usually quit,
Okay.
early. It's going over that noise threshold, or the kind of level that we selected, or
Right.
Jim Mayrows and us, when we worked on that ordinance originally. That's kind of a good number. It makes a concert that the people really in attendance there are probably wearing earplugs or earbuds. It's loud enough that it's right up there in hearing damage, like 100 dB or so. it's low enough that mobile homes themselves don't vibrate. And it's a level that the people of Quarry Hill have kind of accepted as a nice, it's a good compromise. It's enough to be annoying, but they won't complain. So
Why
it's
aren't,
in the middle.
Go ahead, Patty.
So,
why aren't they fine when they go over?
I'm sorry,
Why don't,
Fine,
well, Dave has read through the composite laws that we have and concluded that the law is not, I guess, enforceable is the right word. We got enough words in there that he doesn't feel he could sustain any kind of enforcement in court. I don't agree personally.
Would that come to our courts, or would it have to go to some other?
Go to ours first.
Yeah, so-
So, our special event permit has a clause, our special event permit has a clause in that says the requirements of the noise ordinance apply. Well, I say,
So
that's it, but anyway,
I know Dave, I don't know if he's talked to you, Carl, but I know he's planning on putting some ideas together to change the legislation over the winter.
He
I
just
say the
wants to get
legislature,
through
we
this
got
year.
it good.
Yeah, just wants to get through this year.
Yeah, I say the legislature, we got it really good. The problem is very solvable. I mean, as an engineer, I look at it and say, there's at least 4 or 5 tries I've made to make the problem. It's all base. It's not overall sound levels or anything. It's just pure base. And that's a solvable.
Well, those are two
easily
different
problem.
subjects, so because one is that, and the other is time frame and decibels that are applied to that right now. so.
Well, I think the ADDBC number we got is a good goal. It's a nice goal.
I think it can be lower.
They could,
I think it can be lower. I've been up to that concert, and it's loud enough inside. Well, maybe I'm an old guy. But it's loud enough in there. If you can't hear the music with that. Now, the Whirly concert, and I think Joe was up there for a little bit. You don't get the bass, but the music was loud. I mean, you certainly can hear it, you know?
So the whole darn thing is the darn base. I ran those numbers, I made a reading Sunday, I ran the numbers. Friday night was a neat concert in that there wasn't a lot of bass, but it was quite often there and quite rhythmic, so it was like a heartbeat, if you will, for some of the pieces. And you could then see the levels of the concert when it wasn't the bass, and then they had some numbers that didn't have bass. And like, holy mackerel, it's like 9 days, it's the darn bass. And that thing it turned, yes, it's so loud that you must get a head under beer. Because holy mackerel, I mean, I've been in there and you're not gonna be there. Without earplugs and stuff, you're in trouble. And the beer will foam. I mean, man, this is something.
Well, they did a work on it.
Well, yeah, Dave,
Okay,
you're right. It
Dave's
could be
gonna work
lower.
on it. We can move on.
Yeah.
From that.
Right,
Okay.
you're right, well,
Library, still waiting for response to the HVAC system. Christine said that we probably won't hear anything on that till October-ish sometime, which is getting closer. We're still waiting to hear from Doyle Security on the fire suspension. Suppression and alarm system. See what that's gonna kind of be about, and then we'll get that out to bid. Rod was there and he finished repairs on the gutter, did cosmetic repairs. He didn't like the way it was in there, the way that, I think the Bills tried to do something. So he took all that out, and we'll see how that works. And, I still have to find a leak. And I didn't hear anything today with all the rain we had, so that's just further suspicion that it's in the wall.
Okay. Grants, Dasney, as I wrote, checked with the our New York State Senator. It's still on the table from 6 years ago, but nothing will happen until at least after the elections and probably not until after the first year. And well, that's probably all I should say. As far as sidewalk, waiting on the village, I say it's on your agenda this evening on whether they're going to move forward with a sidewalk or not, or if they're gonna cancel the, grant. I know Paul Angels Community Development Block Grant wants to know what they're gonna do. That's already last year's funds. The grant cycle for this next year's coming out in the next month or so.
I know-
Go ahead.
We put the kibosh on that, I guess, with the sidewalk to the rear of the town. I had a long, kind of interesting conversation with Pete Forstall the other night. And he did bring up some issues about why they weren't supporting the one out here on Clarence Center. And he said it was due to the corner of Buell and Clarence Center where the semis are undercutting that, and the village is constantly filling in that spot where a sidewalk would probably go is what he was stuck on.
Who said that, Peter?
Pete.
Well, that whole,
And I drove by it the other day and it's literally,
that whole intersection has to be changed.
Yeah.
It's hard to go around that corner in a car.
right,
or a
but
big-
would it
bigger
make
truck.
sense to, okay, so
So it's gotta change.
that would
the-
be a bigger project than just putting a sidewalk in. Right?
Well, I
So
think you
would
would
we
do it-
wanna reapproach this to the rear, especially if they're gonna have that future development? That's just what you brought up. So I don't know.
The issue with the road is Beale Street's state, Clarence Center's county.
Right,
And I'm the state, you're the county, I go, it's the county goes, it's the state on that corner.
yeah.
See, that radius has to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
changed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In that hole has grown over the couple of years, and I, at our joint meetings, I
Sure.
asked John, and John went down and put some gravel in it so that you don't lose a small car in there.
Which isn't his responsibility,
No,
right?
it's
But he,
not.
but he does it
But
anyway.
he did it, and,
So knowing that, I mean, that just kind of regurgitated, I guess, what you had brought up in the past, but would it make sense to walk that back area and reapproach this or put the kibosh on it? I don't know. He did bring up, I guess, because I asked him if they were truly going through with this development over here, and they said they're trudging forward with it.
And they need to put
Right,
something.
they're gonna have
on
access to
it.
Pixley's and would it make sense? I don't know. I've seen it on a map. I've never walked it, but
If they put a sidewalk in the back, I'm really not opposed to the sidewalk, but I don't, it's really not gonna benefit town, it's gonna be something that's gonna benefit.
Them.
Police in the village.
and then
especially if
would that,
development goes
that
there.
would
So-
fall under us for maintenance, right?
Well,
We
I was gonna
discussed
say, if they wanna maintain it,
that's the point, John.
that. Right,
or if it's only a matter of 10 feet from the, is Pixley's in the village?
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Give them 10 feet and tell them to put their sidewalk.
but if you look at, trust me, I'm not a thorough map reader, but if you look at that new development, the easiest way from that new development is on the other side of Pixley's parking lot where Shepherd comes down. It's right there.
Okay.
And that makes more sense connecting into the parking lot that way for that new development, but, there's a lot. There's a maintenance issue, there's also, we would have to address the drainage, because that all,
It's all wet.
it's all wet down there in that one area, so there's a lot to it for the town. And then we would probably have to run the sidewalk up to the town,
Okay.
which just seems like a whole bunch. Maybe it's just, I personally, I think they would just ought to scrap it and look at it. Because Community Development in Black Rand, they've okayed that particular project twice over the last 4 or 5
Right.
years. They'll okay it again, because it's for, with the village tied in, this has the right demographics to qualify. But, let's see how that development goes first. I don't know, John,
It would be on the village, go ahead.
yeah, I've heard that developments been gonna be developed for the last 15 years. We've heard all different ones, you can buy it and do it and do it. I think this guy's more legit, but Peter mentioned at the joint facility meeting that the drawings were several years old,
Mhm.
which
Positive.
was puzzling that we would have up-to-date drawings. No, but anyways. we
And
can-
that,
we
so
can wait on
the intersection up here that John was talking about,
Mhm.
that onus would fall under the village to pull the chain on that and go to the county and the state to
Correct.
try to redevelop that intersection.
It's been like that, I mean, just even going out the landscape trail.
Right,
You know, it's, in the way the curve, it's, take the curve out of
Oh,
anything, just put a bigger shoulder in there.
right. Okay,
So new ideas for this next year project, the only thing that I came up with is, finish off the funding for the van. And, I have a phone call, excuse me, I have an email into Paul this afternoon, and I'll get back to you tomorrow, whatever he replies to that. And, we'll see if there's any other projects. As I've mentioned before, the town is sort of limited, because the reason the village gets a lot of projects from community development block grant is they have the demographics of low income. And we don't in the town. Not according, we used to have, like, before all the big houses were up on Draper Road 20 years ago, that used to be, or Havens Road before that was built up. Because I think when Jerry Sully was supervisor, he got a grant from community development block grant to resurface Havens Road, because there was nothing there. And there's no way you can do that now. That $1 million homes there. So anyways, that public hearing is coming up. Other ideas, gas well, I reached out to Dave Worsma Friday and today. I'll wait Wednesday and I'll call him, allegedly talking with John. He can do it with Dave Worsma. I have an email from him from last spring. He said he's willing to do it. To change the valve, and then we're all set as far as the state goes. So. The gauge, I'm sorry. not the
gauge.
valve, the gauge, yeah.
Distinction between.
Yes.
age and value.
As far as the 2023 budget, that will be presented, preliminary budget Monday evening. We're 95%, 99% there, and what we're gonna present to everybody.
When we discuss the budget.
After
Which we
that,
had time.
the public hearing isn't until I believe, John, was the second meeting in October is the public hearing, so we've got a month to discuss it at the public hearing, and then usually the meeting after the public hearing is when you make the changes, if you want to make any changes to it, and we vote on it. Put it in place. It's been, I've done this before, but it's been a long time, so we have two outstanding union, we've got a union contract, we've got a fireman contract, but we don't have final numbers on yet, so it's hard to put. Do you put in? What do you put in? And so you guess, so what you think it's gonna be, and the same thing with the refuge contract. I just picked out a high number for the budget. A higher number where I think it's gonna be at, because in base the budget on that, and we're still doing okay. So the refuge contract, the bids are due October 18th. There's a pre-meeting at September 30th. Talked with Dawn. She has been in contact with Waste Management, Modern, and is it Casella? The one out of Niagara or Grand Island. Those three companies have a bid project, so we know the three of the major companies here have gotten it, plus she's put it on the bid international or wherever, but apparently not everybody looks at that, but certainly when it comes to signs, they don't. Because we only got one back on that. Bicentennial, the only thing there is I think we discussed the committee using the park because they want to have as long as we have the insurance and all that, and I know Dawn's already checked with Adam Berg and the insurance is no issue to add on for a rider, but we've got to get any vendors up there to write off, which I'm looking at Emily and she's saying yes, because I know she's going to get back to me as or to Dawn and make sure that everybody's signed off. We got plenty of time to that, but at least we're ahead of the ball game in that. And that's all I have, other than the fire contract and the highway contract, and I'd like to go to executive session on them.
So moved. Second, 7:40. We'll have to watch a football game.
Yep, we'll,
Close the door.
we will be, please. Oh, okay, hang on here, I'm gonna unrecord you, which is right.
And I'll leave the touch screen.
Okay, we're having a professional come here.